Generic structure of analytical exposition text. Thesis. Introducing the topic and indicating the right point of view. Argument. Explaining the argument to support the writer's position. The number of arguments may vary, but each argument must be supported by evidence and explanation. Reiteration. Restating the writer's point of view or to strengthen the thesis. We can use the following parts to make conclusion and reiteration. Language feature of analytical exposition text. First, using relational process. Second, using internal conjunction. Third, using casual conjunction. Fourth, using simple present tense. Fifth, using compound and complex sentence. Sixth, use words that link argument, use firstly, secondly, and reasoning through casual conjunction, such as in addition, furthermore, however, therefore.
Social function. To persuade the reader that something is in the case. To persuade the reader that something should or should not be the case.
The COVID-19 health protocol violation will be sanctioned. As we know, the number of people infected with the COVID virus is still increasing in our country. But some people still ignore the health protocol by not wearing masks and keeping their distance.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Fahmi and I'm from 11 Social 2. So today I'm going to explain and read about the generic structure of analytical exposition text. The exact is COVID-19 text, and I'm going to read the argument part. So without any further ado, let's get started. Firstly, the violators will continue to ignore the health protocols suggested by the government. If they aren't sanctioned, by being sanctioned, they will feel deterred and assignment so that in the future they will obey the rules given. Secondly, by sanctioning the violators, they will understand the responsibility. Not only does it prevent us from being infected by the virus, but adhering to health protocol also keep others safe. We may not feel infected, but at least we prevent bad things by continuing to keep distance and wearing masks. That way we will fulfill our responsibilities to ourselves and others. Lastly, giving sanction to the violators will make them more aware of the danger of COVID-19. It is said that WHO declared COVID-19 a pandemic, which means that this virus is very dangerous. So it is best to continue to maintain and avoid COVID-19. That's all from me. Don't forget, after I'm explaining about this, there's Raihana explain about the reiteration of the text. Thank you so much, and sorry if I had a mistake in this video. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Reiteration. Therefore, the health protocol violators should be sanctioned because of the reason given above. Internal conjunction tend to fulfill textual meta function, facilitating the organization of text and connecting logical steps. Example of internal conjunction include first of all, in addition, for example, and in conclusion which demonstrate the sequences and steps of the text or discourse. Example, we may not feel infected, but at least we prevent bad things by continuing to keep distance and wearing masks.
Using relational process serve to characterize and to identify general nouns, be they human or inanimate subjects. Example of relational processes include be, become, remain, taste or like, turn into, represent, constitute, express, signify, and stand. For example, the number of people infected with COVID virus is still increasing in our country. Next, using simple present tense. The simple present tense is a verb tense with two main uses. We use the simple present tense when an action is happening right now, or when it happens regularly, or unceasingly, which is why it's sometimes called present identified. Example, WHO declared COVID a pandemic. And last but not least, using compound complex sentence. Compound complex sentences are the most complicated sentences. As their name implies, a compound complex sentence has at least two independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. In simple terms, an independent clause can be a sentence on its own while a dependent clause cannot. Example, the violators will continue to ignore health protocol suggested by the government if they aren't sanctioned.
Good job!
Analytical exposition, a type of text that will explain in detail the author's opinion on a phenomenon or issue that occurs without intending to influence the reader to agree or do something.
Structure. Thesis. The first paragraph in the introduction of the text. Argument. Next paragraph usually up to before the last paragraph, in where the argument and facts refer to the topic. Reiteration. In this part, both in the last paragraph on the text, the reader restates his or her opinion about the text.
Here, the language feature. Use of simple present tense to present fact and opinions. Use of relation process. Use of external condition to incite the argument by linking to fact, external data, and the real-world events. Use of internal condition to elaborate and itemize step in an argument, such as firstly, secondly, next, finally, and all that. Use of causal conjunction such as because, since, on, account of, and all that. Use of contractive conjunctions such as however, but, nevertheless, and all that. The importance of having breakfast. In a busy morning, people tend to skip their breakfast. There are many benefits of having breakfast. Here are two reasons why it is important.
Having breakfast helps you feel more focused for the coming day. When we study at school and didn't have breakfast before, we will more likely to not focus during the lesson. There's nothing worse than being constantly aware that you are hungry and counting the minutes until lunchtime. Having breakfast in the morning not only follows use until lunchtime, but actually gives our brains the essential energy to function and focus better on tasks, so we can concentrate more. Having breakfast helps you feel more focused for the coming day. When we study at school and didn't have breakfast before, we will more likely to not focus during the lesson. There's nothing worse than being constantly aware that you are hungry and counting the minutes until lunchtime. Having breakfast in the morning not only falls use until lunchtime but actually gives our brains the essential energy to function and focus better on tasks so we can concentrate more. Having breakfast will also control our appetite. If we don't eat breakfast, we are much more likely to end up snacking throughout the morning, which could fill up the unhealthy calories. Stay away from overly refined snacks with added sugar. So if you do feel like snacking, have some slice of fruits.
To reason above to help us feel more focused and to control our appetite are only some of many reasons out there on why having breakfast is important. There are indeed many other benefits of having breakfast.
This paragraph intersects this vision the topic discussed in the text and the further session related to that topic. The next paragraph is arguments where then with the explains then argument advice related to 10 topics then with the present 10 arguments to support his her opinion. This reiteration put in the last paragraph of the text, the writer restates his or her opinion about the case. Analytical exposition text does not include any suggestion from the writer. Instead, the restatement is expressed to emphasize the writer's position that something in the case.
Wow!
A few moments later.
Homeschooling. I do not think that I'm homeschooling system in the best education system to us. Although present of homeschooling students think I is better because of the manageable situation.
I think homeschooling system do not break all of the learning aspect that formal school is well researched as in the learning process, socialization, and the self-development of the children. Learning aspect in the school is not only how to understand the material or the content of each subject, but also how to experience directly what happiness in my surroundings. The homeschooling student they keep with page that they like the most and with things that they want to team they peer on it.
The aspect of the learning process also need a good socialization of the children who usually study. They socialize with people around them that they cannot be all impossible to do something bad to them. They do not expect having a good response to leads to something happen around to them which is important a social being.
Finally, one-to-one learning that is offered in a homeschooling program does not guarantee that the children have a good development to face their self-esteem. They do not actively understand how to control and face problems that they do not want to have because their surroundings really comfort them.
The standards of learning in this system makes students not educationally successful. The system just lacks control of the student development is so that it is not the best way to teach or educate students.